the prime creator. So she talked to you in your mama voice.
No, Rob. One day, like I always want to. I'm gonna smoke with you one day. Yeah.
For sure, man. That's
One
what it
day.
is.
One
Look,
day. I
we gonna have the powwow. We gonna have the chief classes and chiefess classes. We don't know that the women was the chiefs first, because that's
uh-huh.
how they're the ones who made us chiefs. You gotta remember, it's take a God maker to make you a god.
Yeah.
Hail
Yeah.
Mary, Mother of God. What that make her?
I always felt like women are so powerful. It's just, especially like a black woman, like just a melanated woman. They just don't know. Some of them just don't know. And well,
Yeah, a lot of these women of all ethnicities, if they knew their true power, they would move through a life entirely different.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna let somebody else come up because it's pretty
I
soon they're gonna
appreciate
cut me off.
it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, you have a good night, man.
Yep. You too. Lord of my vices. Come on up, chief with the chief.
Hold on, good. Right, hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
my brother, hey. Hold on, I'm about to walk out there. I'm in this GM. But hey, bro, I got some questions, Brody. Cause we know about this Department of War, this Department of War shit they talking about, right?
Yeah.
So like, and then we know they ain't pardoning them, but they commuted Larry Hoover. So then they
Yeah.
try to
So
say,
he
right,
still had to deal with it with his state issues, but his federal issues he got time served on that.
right,
They
right,
do
right.
that
So
instead of giving him a pardon because if they pardon him, he can see he's in the position to turn around and sue him because he didn't do nothing.
right.
Literally, he
Mm-hmm.
didn't do nothing, and they locked him up. So they commuted. So they say they saying that the guilty plea overturned. They're saying they're gonna give him time served, and then he got to go back and deal with the state.
Right. My question is because right when they did that, they tried to put these statements out saying he told on it. They try to diminish the names of our leaders and shit. So I'm like, they trying to say that, but then that's the
There
CIA
is no
working. But my thing,
history. There is no history of Larry Hoover telling on nobody at no time under no conditions.
right? Because the same nigga that said that he told on him, he said he ain't tell on him.
No, they were saying Larry told on the dude that shot him, but the
Right,
dude that
right.
shot him said Larry ain't told nothing on him.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
my
that's you got to take it from the people that went through the experience before you take it for the people who thinking they can read it from a distance.
right. So my question is like, is he gonna give a statement to the public? Because that's what we waiting on. We waiting on what he got to say. Been locked up so long. Is because when we look on the
Whatever he do, he got to first spend his time with his family first. So even if he got out right now, that it might not even be announced for months while he's spending time with his family. And then he do have to give a report to the people because we need to. He is the lead chief that has
right,
to tell people about the conditions, the war that was waged against us as tribes, and how they did him. He got to tell his own story. And so we ain't got to take it from secondhand people. He'd be done told us exactly what happened.
hmm do you
See,
think?
the whole
Cause
thing when he first went to prison, the law that he went to prison on was repealed off the books in Illinois. And the law said that if you was a person to influence and somebody under your influence committed an act, that you didn't have to give the order, that your influence was sufficient enough for them to carry out the act. That's what they convicted him of, for being influential in his community, literally. And they blamed the dude that committed the actual crime. He got paroled in the 90s, like 91, 92, after like 20 something years. Larry was still in there. Larry was in there for being influential. He wasn't in there for the underlying murder. They saying his
Mm-hmm.
influence was sufficient enough over the individual that if he committed a crime, Larry was guilty of influence.
Right.
That
Right.
that law in Illinois has been took off the books now. And so it's
Right.
not even so right now today they can't use that same law to convict nobody.
Right. And it's for reasons because it's like chiefs like you that we know got a voice. When they speak, it's gonna move the people. So they got to keep
Yeah.
him silenced at all times. It's like, but my thing is, do you think that Trump doing that has something to do with them sweeping the land in Chicago? Because you know they gonna try to get them YNs out the way, man. Anything moving out there that think they finna go against the government, they gonna get wiped out. So it's like it's best,
It's
like
not
you
the
said. I
government
heard
no
you say,
more. So this is what you're looking at. The old government called the United States of America, based in DC, is gone. It's not even called Washington DC anymore. It's called District of America, renamed under the military intelligence. They had to rename it first to
mm-hmm,
reclaim it, right? So when that happens, the changing of the guard gets closer. They have to get rid of police because they foreign military and we in a police state and we don't know it. So they're gonna bring in National Guard before they get rid of the police, right? When they bring the National Guard in, then the officers gonna either be deputized by a sheriff or they're gonna have to be militarized by the National Guard. But most of them is gonna be rejected because the profile requirements for them to hire police is sociopathic in nature, and they're not gonna allow a lot of the people that's practicing law enforcement now to even be qualified to practice.
mm, yeah,
Right. So a lot of changes is like real close.
yeah. Because
Right.
I heard you say you told the mothers, man, get y'all kids out the street because it's about to get ugly, man. And
Yeah,
if they,
tell them
so they,
tell them don't play with them people. They told to treat us like we family, but they also told don't take no shit.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they gonna be smooth, but if you go out there, trying to threaten them with your switches, you gonna see what a real switch look like. I'm just
nah,
keeping it 100.
nah, for real, nah. But do you think that has a connection with like the war that we facing on that land? Like, do they have a certain microscope on Chicago to where, all right, we move Larry Hoover around, and now we about to run in there and try to do they sweep? Is this some type of like? Is it a reason why it's that land in particular?
It's not just Chicago. This gonna happen in multiple cities across the land. They have to
Mm,
secure certain what we call them. They call them um, prime military target zones. The reason to send the National Guard in is not had nothing to do with the reason they telling you. They don't care nothing about stopping crime. They don't have nothing to do with that. It's securing the land so that a foreign force can't have sleeper cells invading us while the power structure is shifted. That's what it's about.
mm, mm. So you think they gonna let Jeff Ford get a voice too? You think they gonna move him around?
They
Angel
gonna have
Bay?
to, yeah, Angel Bay gonna have. They sooner or later they gonna have to let him go too. But first we have to see Larry is the spearhead because once the people get to hear and see what's going on with Larry, that's gonna make them demand all of these political prisoners brought to the forefront. And Angel Bay is the law of Turtle Island. He's the one who was supposed to be enforcing the law. This is why when you're in Chicago, you always hear him say Stones run it. Cause
Mm-hmm.
that's the law enforcement, the Red House law enforcement, them mama's boys and they don't play. And a lot of people misconstrue that part of the tribal structure with a whole lot of other stuff. But he is the chief that was supposed to be responsible for the military governing of the people on the land. He was supposed to be our Shaka Zulu. That's why they got
Mm,
rid of him.
mm.
Larry is the ambassador, the spokesperson, the chairman of the board.
Chairman of the
He's
board, right?
he's the one responsible for telling the people how we was in this mess, how we overcome this mess. As the chairman of the board, you're the spokesman for all of the tribes,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And Larry,
we all know who he is. But remember, we classify in their system so. But
Hmm.
remember, our mama used to gather us up, say, "Come on, we got to go check on Aunt Katie and see how she doing." The
Absolutely.
whole family get in the car, and then you got the girls be cleaning up on the inside,
Hmm.
boys be cleaning the yard up, mamas and auntie got her upstairs bathing her,
Enough for
helping her with her personal needs and stuff like that. That's how we used to do it. You remember that?
we did it. Absolutely. I grew up in South Carolina, in the woods, place called Arcadia Plantation on the outskirts of Georgetown. We live in a communal, collective, cooperative way. No, I never even heard the word nursing home until I was an adult
Mm.
in my 20s up here in New York. Nothing
Mm.
like that existed in our environment.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
we used to take care of our own elders, and the elders used to talk to the youth. We used to sit around the big papa couch. We
hmm
all of the babies sitting there cross-legged in front of him, and
and
he
every,
was giving us the oral history.
and every community had a big tree, where we hung out under that tree and listened to those
Mm.
old folks,
Beautiful.
sitting on the ground or sitting on a log or sitting on a bench that they had built.
Beautiful.
But that's when we understood that communal, collective, cooperative was our way, not Marxism, not socialism. That's white folk stuff. That ain't ours.
Yeah.
When they wrote that stuff, they weren't even thinking about us. They were thinking about white working class people taking something from the rich crackers. So
Mm. Mm.
our thing,
Hey, T. Phil, first and foremost, I want to pay respect to you, man. I appreciate what you're doing for us.
Man, I'm trying, man, but these motherfuckers make it so difficult to do anything for our benefit. It makes you not want to do nothing for us because there's so much ingratitude for the ones that came before us, the ones that's fighting the fight now. Everybody want to be part of the gossip circle to tear a motherfucker down, but don't nobody want to be part of the celebration committee to uplift the motherfucker.
That's right. That's right. Can't build nothing, can't tear nothing down without having a plan in place for rebuilding.
Yeah, and that shit just it's heartbreaking really because I'm pretty sure that the people talking shit about Dr. Smalls don't know his background for real, for real. They just probably seen him on some clips and thinking that he's just some elder they recorded recently and he got a little hot video. They don't know he been in this shit walking next to the real motherfuckers doing the real frontline
Right.
boots to the ground work.
Before social media.
That's,
You know what I'm saying? When real blood was shed, you know? But we passed that point, right?
I hope so, man. As soon as you know, I like I knew he had no intentions on doing no live tonight, but somebody sent me a clip. I ain't gonna say no names, but they was not happy because I was not disrespectful to the elder, knowing his history. I know his history. You know what I mean? I've been watching him for years. While I was in prison, I was watching him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I already know what he been doing. Just because his information, he didn't have his access to the same level of information, and he didn't read the same books that a lot of us read. He read the shit that came before. So we gotta correct the errors that the elders made as best we can, and the youth gonna correct our mistakes.
That's right.
I'm not telling them the baby's got it now, so do what you gonna do.
Yeah. That's like my uncle one time. My cousin was beefing with my family and my grandmother, and he wasn't allowed over my grandmama's house, and because he brought a gun in the house and disrespected my grandmother by yelling at her, and my uncle whooped his ass and said, "Yeah, you got to respect your grandmother. That's how we stay blessed. You know, no matter if she was wrong for whatever the case may be, not understanding the new struggles. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain principles that we got to abide by, and
Yeah, and, you
you know
know
what I'm
that's
saying?
like Big Cookie went to prison for a murder he didn't commit. Got put on death row. Instead of killing him, they froze his ass in Area 51. Now they done thawed him out. And now he come out. If I don't agree with him, am I supposed to be disrespectful for him? To him? I'm not gonna let these motherfuckers freeze me for your ass. They got to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I hate being cold that bad,
Mm.
right? But the level of understanding of somebody's struggle, right? If you don't understand the struggle, you need to go read Blue Ray's Black Redemption, right? He had to be sat down in order to find himself. But they didn't want him to find himself and come back and free nobody else. That's why they gave him the death penalty. Because they knew by the time he found himself, he was going to have the same thing happen. A whole litany of people was going to advocate for him to get released. They scared to release him because he's going to tell the tribes the truth about the blue and the red and how these motherfuckers got y'all fighting each other. And he is a living example. So they give him the death penalty because they don't never want him to be able to tell it. Well, we got to figure out an end run around that shit, right?
Mm.
Look, don't come on here asking me if I'm for no motherfucking Israel. Blow that bitch off the map. Blow that bitch off the map because it's causing too many problems for the rest of the world. Just demolish that shit. Carpet bomb the entirety of the West Bank, Israel, Palestine, fuck them all. They ain't got nothing to do with our struggle over here, and they kicking all our money going over there. So just blow them all up so we can keep our money at home. You're gonna blow them up anyway. Come on here asking about no goddamn Israel. Fuck Israel.
How you get rid of the ideology though?
Look, the ideology gonna get rid of itself when people start waking up to what the fuck going on.
Mm-hmm. All right. I got a question for you, Chief.
Yep.
I don't know what episode, but I've been chimed in with you for a while now, and I'm grateful to be on here with you today. Um, but you had said one time that if you are a chief, there's gonna be one of three birds following you: an eagle, a hawk, or a falcon, and one for a priestess. What did you mean by that? And how do you know
Nature,
which bird?
nature symbols, nature signs. So we got totem animals,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you hear the term Algonquin, that means
Mm.
eagle face, bird face. It's really tied back to Tahuti, right? The bird and the feathers became sacred to all of the tribes of the Americas. And several tribes in the motherland, several tribes in the Far East, what we call Asia. Okay, now the bird is the symbol for spiritual freedom, the freedom to soar spiritually. The apex of the birds is the eagle first, it's the falcon, and it's the hawk, right? The falcon or the hawk is used in falconry. Falconry is using them to hunt for with, using the nature of the bird to turn him into a tool of hunting. And um, now the bird of prey can now serve its man as a hunter. Okay, so now you got your hawk and your falcon, but you got the cleanup crew. The cleanup crew, the condor or the turkey vulture or the buzzard, that's the cleanup crew. It's the chiefs just boots on the ground actually doing the physical work of whatever. If it's in peacetime, they plowing fields. If it's in wartime, they fighting combat, right? If it's time to upgrade the society, they teach it in university. So when we tie to a animal, one of the birds, we tie to a bloodline, and that bird will follow us. And sometimes we'll have more than one that's tied to our totem animal because of our bloodline. So let's say the eagle, the hawk, and the buzzard, right? Let's say you got all three of these birds that's constantly popping up. You're seeing them everywhere you go. They following you. It look like they following you because it look like it's the same bird. And probably it is. But this is because nature is tracking you, not man. Nature used what's natural to track you. And if you're moving faster than a land animal will run, which is in the motor vehicle, then they have to use aerial of view. This is where you even get the idea of an Air Force from. You have to see it from the air, what they call a bird's eye view. They have to watch you from above so they can't lose you. It's the same meaning as the symbol of the all-seeing eye on the pyramid, meaning to have the bird's eye, third eye view of the land, everything under it, the base of the pyramid, right? The capstone is not connected to the pyramid, which is really representing of the chief and his physical disconnection from the people represents the entire structure itself, right? Where it appears to be physically separated is because it's spiritually tied together to the rest of the pyramid to form one structure. You get it? So when Dolph flipped me a code, he flipped me a pyramid capstone with a red eye. Immediately brought up George Jackson, the Soledad brother, as a gorilla knock. Blood in my eye. So now I gotta find out why is Dolph sending me the code of blood in my eye? What in the fuck? And not just the regular eye, blood in my third eye. What have he seen? What does he discover? And it led me down a rabbit hole that ended up with me channeling the boy Triple X that I had never listened to none of his music before. And he's getting on my fucking nerves because he keep calling me bro. And he keeps saying, I ain't dead, bro. I ain't dead, bro. Tell him I ain't dead. I'm still here. I'm just laid out. I'm just hid up. And I'm like, man, would you quit calling me bro? I've been telling him everything you telling me if you quit calling me bro. That was he kept doing it for me to bring attention to it, right? So when his tribe heard me channeling, they immediately inboxed me a whole slew of youngsters. I don't know. I never listened to his music. And I never really watched him that much. But they was in my inbox talking about, bro, that was our chief, man. You was talking directly to him. It wasn't a fluke. This is his tribe telling me that. I don't know him like that. Right? Now, if it had been Pac, I'd have been able to have a whole conversation with him, and I wouldn't have had to check with nobody because that's my guy. Right? But because it's a person that I'm not familiar with, he have to have a what they call a calling card. So Dolph turned Triple X on to me on the ethers telepathically. Hey, check in with this guy. So when he's channeling to me off what Dolph's saying, he's saying, I'm going to walk you through it. Now, I'm sitting in my room before I go live. He's walking me through these pictures. And it's a countdown from a guy that owned a record label called Empire. And it was a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And every one of them, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 was an Empire artist that was some kind of way mysteriously came up murdered. And we know them all. And so when I was doing the live, and then he came back in on the live, Triple X, and started really annoying me. And his calling card was to keep calling me bro, for his tribe to recognize that he really was talking to me, because it was getting on my nerves. And normally I talk to a lot of these young guys that never bothered me before. But every time he said it, it annoyed me. And I'm like, man, I'm telling them everything you're telling me, right? So while he's telepathically telling me this stuff, his people, I'm getting stuff, tickers in the comments and everything. And I'm like, damn. So what he ended up showing me, he say, he say, big bro, let your man be free and follow me for a minute. He took me to a meeting. And in this meeting, it was looked like a library room or old study from The Godfather or something. And it was an old Arab dude sitting there, or Chaldean or something. He was Middle Eastern. And it was another one sitting on the side of his desk. And then the dude that owned Empire Records comes in the room. I remembered him from the pictures. And I'm like, damn. So he was like, just watch, bro. Watch what they do. So he opened up a big ass book, and it got all of the artists' names on Empire Records. But beside him, it got insurance policy amounts. They don't have no knowledge of this. It's all done in the back, in this dark room. So when they go through the insurance policies, he said, look, bro, look, you're going to see my name and you're going to see Dolph's name. So he zoomed in on the book. It had Dolph Ziggler, not Dolph Ziggler, Young Dolph, and he had his real name in brackets behind his stage name. And then it said 100 million, and it had a symbol by it. 100 million and whatever this other symbol was, right? So he go down all of the artists that was dead. He was one of them. He had his stage name, XXXTentacion, and then he had his real name in the bracket, and then he had $100 million, and then it had another symbol behind it. The symbols was the code, because the dude had to get a certain amount of artists' blood in order to meet his quota. The symbol told him how much was the balance on the quota. And they was paying him out in increments of $100 million in insurance money that had nothing to do with the artist's family or their estate. And she was showing me, Triple X showing me all this telepathically. And so I'm trying to explain to people what's going on with Young Dolph. And Young Dolph people start flipping me codes. And then they say it was going to be another rapper from Memphis was going to get accused falsely of being involved. And they showed me Soulja Boy. When they showed me Soulja Boy, they say they was going to try to implicate him in Dolph, but he don't got nothing to do with it. So then a couple days go by, I'm on Instagram, and guess who popped up? Soulja Boy. And he was rambling, but everything he said sounded like it was related to what I was shown. But you could tell he was just on there rolling the blunt, just chit-chat-chitting. But it was like answering everything. And he was like, man, Memphis don't move like that, man. I don't know who them niggas is. Them some strange niggas. right? But I don't think he was talking about specifically about Dolph Cakes. He was just talking about something that went on in Memphis that it had nothing to do with no Memphis guys. But based on what I had seen and what he was talking about, it seemed like the answer to what I was seeing is what he was talking about. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, right? Then I was like, shit, he got a whole crew of Soldier Boy soldiers.
Mm.
Right? Now, my attention was drawn to him by Ice T. Because Ice T said Soldier Boy single handedly destroy hip hop. He can eat a dick. Oh man, no OG don't talk to the young G like that when he doing the best he can with what he know. The baby 16 years old when he made that song in high school, having fun playing with his homeboys. They make up a dance and turn it into a song. We didn't know it was going to take off like that. You can't say he single-handedly killed hip-hop. Hell, if that's the case, Nas had already declared hip-hop dead.
There's a season for everything.
Long before Soulja Boy came about. So how he single-handedly killed? So I just felt that Ice-T owed him an apology for that. So that draw my heartstrings to be able for him to say something, and then I could pick a tribal frequency up from it. Right? This shit is not what people think it is. They got it all. They got the game all twisted. It ain't what people think it is. But because they think they know better than everybody else, you can't tell them shit. So I hope I answered your question because I went on a long trip on that one.
No, you did. And the messages.
Yeah, but those birds are tied to your totem. Your totem governs the frequency by which you receive spiritual information.
Mm.
And by knowing what they mean, it helps you interpret messages from nature. Nature talking to us all the time, but we have to develop our individual codex for it.
Yeah.
Because you gotta everything you see, you like, what are the if you don't want to call it a tree, you gotta make up your own name for that shit. I'm gonna call that mother forful.
Yeah.
So now when I talk to people, yeah, man, I got a brand new forful garden in my backyard. You don't know what you talking about. Oh, that ain't no tree, man. That's a forful. Man, them
Man.
trees. Them forful. I don't identify with your dynamic no more. I'm growing out of it. So I make my own codex.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Word.
when right, so now when you hear the word somewhere, you be like, oh, nature talking back.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody know what you named the tree but you and the people you told. So when nature bring the word back to you, nature talking back to you.
So
Right?
I was just talking to a tree the other day. I went to go take a piss on her, and I asked her, I said, what I said to her. I don't remember what I said to her, but I know what she told me. She said, grow me large, and I'll take you deep."
She said what?
She said, "Grow me large, and I'll take you deep."
Roots run deep in the ground. The bigger the tree is, the larger the tree. Grow me large. Right?
Man,
And as you was pissing on the tree,
yeah, I took a, yeah, I did. I took a piss on the tree.
yeah. So she's telling you she's gonna use your bodily waste as a form of fertilizer.
Word.
Honor
She,
the tree.
I know she know it because that's what I think about every time I take a piss on her. And I take a point to anytime I have some fruit, throw my pills on her in the bushes. Don't ever throw them away. You know what I'm saying? That's the blood. That's the blood given back to earth.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why they created waste distribution centers. Remember, before they had toilets, they had outhouses. Before they had outhouses, we went and peed and shit under trees and different stuff
That's right.
and bushes, right? And
It's still right.
yeah, so we, that's what we was doing on purpose, though, because when our bodily waste get in the ground, Mother Earth can then determine what we sick with, what plants need to grow in the area, and
Mm-hmm.
code them to the genetics of the person's DNA. It's a lot of
Mm.
communication our waste give to the earth. So when they create waste distribution centers and processing centers, it takes the connection to the earth from our waste system. Earth is no longer processing our waste, man is doing it.
That's right. And that's part of the rebuilding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, systems like that.
Yeah, that's why we always used everybody that lived in the city had a lifeline in the country. We didn't have grocery stores. Grocery stores is not 200 years old,
Right.
right? We had trading posts, but the trading posts consisted of something from all of the local tribes that came and brought goods to be traded for other goods. They tried to make it like the colonizers set up the trading posts. We
Right.
had trading posts thousands of years before they ever got here.
Trapping.
To jail because I'm trying to tell you something. It doesn't matter whether the enemy is in our group. He doesn't have to be in our group physically anymore. See this technology here? He can take what comes out of my mouth and create a whole nother narrative that didn't come out of my mouth and make you think it came out of my mouth.
Right. Rod, what did you want to say?
You
You
know,
read that? Yeah, Professor.
I
Yeah.
had went over the FBI infiltration with the snitch program, with the informant program, with the
Mm-hmm.
COINTELPRO, and me telling people about it is not the same as somebody who was living through it. Dr. Smalls was literally experiencing all of the stuff that I'm telling the youth. This is the reason why. Because when we get to be elders, we have to tell them why they don't have a birthright. You don't have your birthright because people that look like us been infiltrating us since Nat Turner, since Denmark Vesey and Gabrielle Prosser, since we was fighting conquistadors in Florida with the Gullah War, Seminole Wars, since we was fighting the Huguenots with the French in New Orleans and Haiti. We've been being infiltrated by people that look like us, feeding and controlling people that don't look like us, all in the mass deception. Now, we get Dr. Smalls on here. He done lived through the snitch program, the FBI COINTELPRO initiative, readiness exercise 1984, the whole plot of infiltration that they used against us. They weren't using people that couldn't sit at the table with us at our family dinner.
Right.
And that's the hardest part for us to digest.
Yeah, and I'm just telling our young people, please beware of what the policy of the enemy is. When we think of, a brother from the continent, when most of them come over here, I just learned a few years ago that America got a refugee settlement policy. I did not know that. Stupid as I am, smart as I think I am. I found that out when I found out about talking to a sister from Minnesota about the Somalian brothers and sisters, because I want to know why they all there. That's where the refugees department sent them. I said, well, what refugee department? There's America got a refugee agency that places people in certain locations. So when they want to break up a black vote that's too tight, they bring brothers and sisters from another part of the world, supplant them there, but warn them coming in the door. Now they're trying to stab the brothers and sisters in the back, that if you associate with them people, your ass going back home. And brothers and sisters have come to me and told me this is what the U.S. government and State Department is telling them. We're gangsters, we're dope dealers, and you don't want to associate with that. So, yeah, I can blame to some degree the brothers and sisters after being there for a while and seeing that ain't true. But we got to understand that there's a war against our minds on the part of the enemies to keep us separated. I want to ask the question, why you want to separate me from that person? If none of us is nothing, you call us shit, this and all this and that, then why you want us separated? Because united like beings have more power than separate like beings. Malcolm X showed us a simple process. Malcolm said, these 5 ditches, when they're separated, is easily hurt or broken. But when you create this, it's a little more difficult to do that. Now that's not, and the other one he gave us, he said, cats having biscuits in an oven. I mean, cats having kitten in an oven don't make them biscuits. Cats having kittens in an oven. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Make them biscuits. We didn't decrease when we left Africa. We increased. So what are we arguing about? And in that increase, the African part of us is still there. Okay? Now we may look how we have to deal with it, the way of dealing with the brothers and sisters from home who get caught up in that stuff. We may have difference, and you may be more right than me on how this should be dealt with. But we got to deal with it. Same thing.
Dr. Smart, I think that the thing that we got to realize is something you just said, war.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't understand warfare. They don't understand espionage. They don't understand propaganda warfare. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about being at war with the people and not understanding warfare, we looking at it from the wrong lens already. Mm-hmm. So everything, war, Sun Tzu wrote, the premise of war is based on deception. All war is based on deception. So when they coming in with a false narrative to begin with. We just got to figure out what's the false narrative that they want us to follow and what's our narrative that they keep trying to suffocate.
No, I agree. We in North America, and you've heard me say this multiple times. That's why I didn't understand some of the stuff I was hearing. I said we wanted the strongest African nation in the world, or black nation in the world. We can call us whatever we want. We're one of the strongest nation in the world. And the primary reason for that strength is we are the only African nation that had to grow up in the house, the very friggin' palace of white so-called supremacy. We had to kick his ass in the palace as a minority in his majority premier state. Mm. He came to build America for himself. This was his new Egypt. This was his new Jerusalem. And he intended to crucify us in that process. And we haven't allowed him to be. And we're about to win. It may take us another 100 years, but we're going to win. We're not going to lose. Like I said, we're going to get reparations. And I don't care if it's in pennies. I want my money. I ain't in no situation. I'm not in no foolish notion. They owe us. I ain't got no issue with that. Every penny they got, they earned it from my blood and my labor. Every technology they got, they earned it from my mind. And we can go on, because all of us talk about these things every day. My primary thing, Rich, was like, if I hurt any of my brothers and sisters, I'm telling them that was not my intention. All right? You say you're foundation Black American, and how you describe it is the same way I describe it.
Same thing. Yeah, Professor, same thing. But they're just terms, but
even the terms,
same thing.
I could take foundational Black American. I said I don't have
African American, Black
African American, whatever. We know what we're talking about. We're talking about people who had to come together, constantly recreate themselves, and survive fighting a war, a race war. And it has been a race war for hundreds of years now.
Professor,
it ain't over yet.
And I don't want to sound ignorant, but I want to articulate myself this way. Even when we think of the word, the derogatory term nigga, a person will think of an African American. Because somebody from another continent will say, I am not the nigga. I am not that nigga. Like even that term, that falls on us.
Everybody know who we are. And what they know. Let me tell you what they know, brother. They know that we have taken on a fight against an adversary in a race war that no one else have taken on the way we've taken it on, because we are in the house. We are in the capital of the races. When we started Emancipation Day in Ghana, and I helped to create Emancipation Day in Ghana, I helped to create Panifest in Ghana, and I still sit on the executive committee of those things. I remember when we got up one day, and this is when I really got deep into the spiritual thing. The brothers of Jerry Rollins, we took a body from America and a body from Jamaica. and he gave them a state funeral. And we're marching down the street in the car. I'm walking with the mayor, the deputy minister, and some other people. And there's hundreds of young people, Ghanaian, who are in chains and shackles, and they're being whipped. I saw a whip hit a girl across the back, and a welt came up big as my finger. The next thing I know, the guy with the whip was on the ground. I had bloodied him up. I had beat him up. I never know to this day what happened between seeing the whelp and when they pulled me off of that child. Something is in our DNA.
Something, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They're yelling, "Small, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real." And the police got me. And I look at the boy's face all bloody. I don't even know what I did. I don't even know when I hit him. Yeah. And the girl comes back with the other people in the chain, and they crying. They say, "Prof, we just wanted to feel what y'all felt. We did not know y'all went through this." So people who don't understand what I don't understand, ask me before you give another question. Then I'll tell you one more piece. A week later, we're up in Kumasi. We went to the Museum of the Santa Hene, the Mancha Palace. We get to the second level, and the man, he must be in his 50s, who was showing me and Dr. Jeffries and the rest of us around. He's sitting in a chair, and he's crying, and he's boohooing. So I'm thinking one of our people insult the man. So I go to the man, because you know me, I'm always Mr. Security. So I want to find out what's wrong. He say, "We didn't know that happened to y'all." What are you talking about? He said, "We were watching TV, and they were talking about the slave dungeon and the slavery. And my whole family last night, we broke down crying because we did not know what happened to y'all. We over here with our enlightenment, thinking everybody else is as enlightened as we are. That is not true. Most of the people on the continent of Africa right now still don't know who we are, still don't know how we got here, still don't know what happened to us."
Well,
so I'm not going to get caught blaming the victims, because I'm also a victim. But I'm going to make my victimization known to the world. As a warrior in the warfare, we got to fight until I die. But for our youth, we are your soldiers. You got to use us by sometimes sitting down and listening to us. Don't come say, because I'm the youth and I knew that you're obsolete. That's not how African culture works. That's not how the universe works. African culture is an imitation of cosmology and ecology. And both cosmology and ecology supports our existence as human beings because it works in a scientific or prescribed manner. Now, dancing and drumming, those are not culture. Dressing and colors of cloth, that's not culture. Those are tools of culture. Culture is the law of nature and the law of cosmology, interpret to a social ecology so we can try to manage how we live our lives in the harmony and balance and protect what we manage. Our big thing in North America and the rest of the world is to get control of economic politics and culture where we live. That's our problem. How do we get control of the economics, the politics, and the culture where we live? And what is the purpose? So we can food, clothe, and shelter our women and our children. And that's the war we're fighting.
Let me ask you this. Oh, no, go ahead, Rod. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We got to remember that every time we did something in the cooperative manner, it was systemically disrupted and replaced with government programs to look like we was impotent at taking care of our own communities when we was functionalism. Most of their system is based on something that we started.
Absolutely. We can just take the breakfast program, their food program, all of that stuff. The party started, but people, Gabi and them did it before the party. So we got to that's why history is important to understand. Almost every program we saw in the Panther Party, the UNIA was doing the same thing. And before the UNA, Mr. Booker Washington, who we carved and cast to the side, Booker T. Washington, one of our greatest leaders, but because the enemy, the white lefts, they cast him to the side. And I've never cast him to the side. We've casted him to the side under all kinds of guise. I've never cast Booker Washington. That's always been my primary leader. That's the way we were taught in the South where I grew up. And I learned about others when I left the South and came north, like Garvey and Du Bois. And I met Malcolm when I was 16, deliberately came to meet him. You know, of course, he died while I was away. But as soon as my foot hit the ground, I found his organization and joined it. You know, I knew Sekou Odinga. I knew Mutulu Shakur. I knew Lumumba Shakur and Zaire Shakur. I knew Asada Shakur. I knew Afeni Shakur. We were comrades, just like you and your youth comrades are together. We were youth comrades together. I got married in the same bedroom that Afeni and Lumumba Shakur got married in. We weren't fake friends. We were real. We were doing the best we could. But what the other thing to be clear to my young people is, we know we ain't did all that we should have. We know we ain't got all this shit right. We only got what we handed to you. Then it's not your job, to figure that shit out. But figure it out by asking, what do you mean by this? Why did y'all do this? Some of the stuff that we did, you're going to have to throw away. Save what you need to build what you got to build. But one thing we got to build is control of the economic, politics, culture where we live. Doesn't matter whether you're in China or the United States. That means you got to control land, labor, and resources. Don't matter whether you're in Africa or the Caribbean. That means you got to provide the food, clothing, and shelter for your wife and your children and your auntie and your uncles, no matter where you are in the world. Now, how do we get that done? What is the best course to take? And that's what we should be discussing. They should have enough beat me up, y'all. I made enough little Cash App stuff for the week now. Go back to work.
Right. They beat you up. Hey, Professor, I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to keep you too long, my brother. I'm gonna build with Rod a little longer. This is the thing. I called Rod the other day, and I said, Rod, I want to do a show with you. And then I seen about the videos kept popping up on Professor, and I said, I want to get Professor on the show with Rod, and just for us to build for a little bit. 3 different generations building on this topic, which can be very it could easily, I'm not saying it's a divisive topic, but it can easily trigger people. And like even early, I'm giving an example. Early this year, I called Blue Pill. I got an argument with Blue Pill. Blue Pill's my brother. And, when you got a brother, you can argue. It's like you and Tariq. When you got a dude that's your brother, y'all can argue. So
I called Blue Pill. I still love this. Ain't got nothing to do with
I called Blue Pill. I had to give him the work real quick. I know he watched and laughed like this nigga crazy, but I gave him that Black American work real quick. You know what I'm saying? And that's my brother. Like that's I love that brother. But my point in saying that is that it's just beautiful to have this conversation. 3 different generations figuring it out when they always try to tell us not to talk to each other. This person's wrong. He's crazy. He's this. He's senile. He's a thug. He's a YN, a young nigga. Stay away from them young niggas. They dress a certain way. Professor Small, and you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying?
We are one.
Exactly.
What you're looking at, Rod is me in the time after me. You are Rod in the time after him. Let me just be very friggin' scientific. There's no beginning to life. There's no ending to life. Matter and energy cannot be destroyed. And when we take this matter that we live in and put it in the ground or burn it or however we want to do those last rites, the energy has already left it and it will land someplace. It will land someplace. When this whole thing started, the first thing I did, I picked up the phone and called my shrine in Trinidad. I said, yo, Omi, go to the ancestors, find out what the heck is going on. I called Ghana. I said, Haji, I have a priest in Ghana. He's a Muslim, he's a Hajj, and he's a traditional God priest. Tell me what's happening in the energy world. We ain't nothing but stardust. All right? That's organized a certain way.
You in Rod's lane now. There you go. That's Rod's lane now.
So,
shit.
Let me just tell you this little piece, but we've got to make sure we instruct the people, the individual. When we look at what we call African spiritual system, the spiritual system is designed to make the individual a quality human being, a godlike human being. The individual marries or finds a mate and create a nuclear family. The nuclear family come together and create an extended family. An extended family is both blood and the people who are in-laws, so they're not necessarily blood. The extended families unite and create a clan. The clans unite and create a tribe. The tribe unites and create a nation, and there is no contradiction there. The nations unite and create the race. There is no contradiction. They're just different pieces of yourself. Now, how do you make the pieces work together in a harmonious way so the enemy can't keep us divided while he steals the wealth of the earth for his use and his children's use?
Professor Smalls, I got one question. I'm gonna let you go, my brother. I appreciate. I know you
I
just
want to ask you one before you go too.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Get Rod. You go first. You go first.
Well, I wanted to ask you, when did you ever get to meet Dr. Amos Wilson?
Woo, good
He's
question.
one of my best friends.
Because we don't understand the value of a lot of our elders.
Mm-hmm.
Ask about him. Ask Pam Africa about him. You know, there's soldiers you haven't even listened to. You haven't paid attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm
I
just
remember Dr. Clark said that if Martin was unsuccessful, they had big badass Malcolm X waiting in the background to turn him loose.
Yeah. So let's think about something as simple as this. As bad as Malcolm was and Martin was, it was Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte jumping off the plane in the cornfield handing the money bag to Sophie Carmichael in the middle of the night. So see, we got to be careful how we label people when we don't know the work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sophie, one of my favorites too. I love it.
But let me
you got some writings and some lectures.
I'm glad you called me Brother Rich, because my mind was on you all week. Because I go like, who do I talk to? Who do I and again, I say to my brothers and sisters, Foundation Black America, Foundational African America, even the ADOS folks who probably won't speak to me. I love y'all.
Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Before you go, because what do you think about? Like I said, you've been through so much in your journey to help resurrect consciousness amongst your people. I remember when ADOS first popped off. Then I remember when Tariq popped FBA off. I remember when Rod popped off what he was talking about with the tribes and the chief. And I remember when Dane Calloway popped off what he was talking about. And I remember when everybody started their talk. What's your thoughts on, I want to loosely call it the death of the African American? Whether it's FBA or not, it just seems like that's not the term no more. And that was the term for a long time, even amongst the black intellectuals.
You ought to be
black
careful.
Intellectuals now is like, no,
don't give that to black intellectuals. Let's not play that, because they ain't enough black intellectuals to put in the top hat. Okay, and no, I'm being clear, because see, we try to do something. It wasn't the black intellectual that made the word black operative, because before we said African American, we had to fight in the streets to make people call themselves black. We did that as a group. I was part of the group all over the country trying to do that. That was Snake, Stokely, Rap, Adam Powell. He's trying to just get us to say black. But I'm gonna come back to the Africa thing, because somebody's trying to get you to let go of something. You have to ask why. Why they want you to let go of Africa? Who's trying to let go of the richest piece of real estate on the planet for a piece of real estate that ain't got no wealth no more? Now, I don't get that. Now, I'm not talking about the culture. I'm not talking about ethnicity, because ethnicity and cultures grow up all over the world. I'm talking about this piece of real estate called North America. Except for a little bit of oil and some iron, there ain't much else. They don't have enough gold to spit on in the ground. Africa have 70% of the world's mineral wealth. I ain't giving that away, Brother Rich. I'll take your share. I could use it. I ain't giving that away. I'm not giving away America, because this real estate belongs to us, and the technology herein belongs to us. So we need to claim it. But I'm bigger than that. When I talk about it, and if you listen to my speech, I say we own the world. Okay, we own this whole planet, and we need to claim the whole planet. Now, everybody can't claim the whole planet at one time. The little finger ain't gonna do what the thumb is doing. They got different jobs. Foundational Black Americans supposed to handle what's going on in North America. Foundational Jamaican supposed to handle what's going on in Jamaica. Foundational Haitians, and then we're supposed to have a relationship to see if we can help one another. That's what our ancestors did all during the time. When Dessalines made his call, thousands of Black Americans left this country in the 1800s and went to Haiti. Now, a lot of them came back because they couldn't deal with that hard life. We weren't used to the hard life of Haiti, but many of us stayed there and became a part of that community. Some of us went to other places. We went to Brazil. We went to get out of this mess. And many of us decided to stay. When Liberia was formed, yes, it was white folks that came up with the colonization society. But before they even bought the first foot of land, 3/4 of the members of that colonization society was black. And it was not put together to colonize Africa. It was put together to get rid of the free blacks in America because they felt we were responsible for the rebellion of the enslaved blacks.
Indeed.
You know, but we just need to understand the history so we have our content and context.
I want to
do what we got to do. You know.
Shout out to King Simon. He's sharing Professor James Small links. If you would like to donate to the elder has, you know, and it's a thing of mine. It's a thing of mine. Yeah, what you said, Professor?
I'm gonna stop turning down money. Most of my life, I even when I lecture for people, Brother Rick, you know what I tell my community? Pay me what you can. All these years, most of them give me something. Sometimes some of them took that as a way to not give me nothing, and I ain't never complained. I went back home with nothing in my pocket to my woman, and never complained.
That's our culture, though.
We give them a bill. You give me 5,000 or 3,000, but I don't get too many white people asking me to speak anywhere no more. You know.
But look, most of us don't realize in our culture, when we get knowledge that's beneficial to the collective and we giving it back, we're not doing it for the money.
No, because I've been poor all of my life, but I ain't been poor. The ancestors and the community have always taken care of me. I ain't never been hungry. My children ain't never been hungry. Carol ain't never been in a place where she didn't have a house to lay her head. You know what I'm saying?
You know how we just had the conversation about the youth have different information, so they move a little differently. Yeah. So I hear what you and Rod, Professor, come on, let me talk. Let me cook, Professor. Come on, let me say this, Professor. The way I move, I'm gonna make sure my elders get taken care of. I hear what y'all saying, right? And that's dope how Rod move is admirable. And I'm a man full of integrity. That's part of my rhythm, my electromagnetic rhythm. But I'm gonna make sure my elders get taken care of. So I'm gonna make sure. So when I talk to you on the phone, Professor James Small, you say, Rich, nobody take care of me like you.
That's true.
Rod Hayes, no, that's part of who I am. So y'all gotta move how y'all gotta move, and I gotta move how I gotta move. And I gotta make sure Rod Hayes, Professor James Small, just get taken care of, you know, because what y'all contribute to this realm, you can't measure in mathematics. It's immeasurable when somebody helps you spiritually. So that's just part of my mission to make sure, and whether it's yourself, there's film with me and Dr. Ben. I'm with Sonetta, and I go with Dr. Ben to the home, the nursing home, and I'm giving him $600, $700, and I'm only 20 years old. I'm giving away $700 at 20 years old. So it's just I'm a money magnet. That's part of my aura. So because that's part of my aura, part of my responsibility is to make sure all the gods and goddesses is taken care of. So it's very important to know who you are. You know how they say, know thyself? Because I know thyself, I am a money god. I got to make sure y'all taken care of, and that's my mission. So with that being said, I want to make sure y'all help Professor Smalls if y'all can. His PayPal Cash App is up on the screen. Also, he will be at Nicholas Brooklyn. If you would like to see the brother in person, he will be at Nicholas Brooklyn on December 13th. And I know King Simon is all in the chat, and he got information on that. But everybody in New York, make sure you see the professor December 13th. I might pop out to that. I might pop out.
That'd be nice.
That'll be fire, right?
Because Amadeus sent me up some of the new piece that he did on Heavy as the Crown.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to see this new piece.
Oh, man.
On Heavy as the Crown.
Professor, any last words before you get out of here, Professor?
Yeah, again, to my youth and younger brothers and sisters, I am not your enemy, brother. I am your father. And if I've made a mistake, deal with the mistake, but don't let the mistake have you cannibalize your family, because we need each other to survive this war that we're in. Indeed. And Brother Rod, make sure, young brother, give you all my particulars. I'm honored to have met you, heard your name, didn't know, but I see your spirit. I see your eyes. I see your face. I know what I'm seeing. I don't know what else to say to my people except I love you, and that I make mistakes. And if I made a mistake, but study me well. Don't let people play games with sound bites. Study me, and then conclude what you conclude having studied me. Even that speech I made, study. Listen to my language. I mean, that's Magala Geechee, man. I don't speak English like most people do, but study my grammar. You will be surprised what you might hear. All, and listen to this and hold it deeply. All content have intent. All content have intent. And sometimes our physical being may not mean to give you a content, but there's a spiritual rhythm that will use people like the three of us to create a content with an intent.
Now you talking about language, Professor. Now you talking about language. When you talk that, I'm a spooky dude, Professor. I'm a spooky dude. So
no, you're a spiritual person.
Okay, yeah, I'm saying that in a joking way. I'm saying that because Sarnetta always called me spooky. Sarnetta be like, Rich, you a spooky
good. I like the spooky's good. So I'm gonna go see my baby. She probably done gone to bed and having me smoked up. I know. I've been running around all day trying to do due diligence.
Professor, thank you so much, my brother. I'm gonna call you tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. And peace and blessings, and give my love to them babies and to the queen. You know, I remember when you had the first one. I remember that look in your eyes that they coming downstairs with that baby.
I'm giving what we've learned back to the people, right? In the position you in, your gratitude triggers you to want to do something. Reciprocity. Think about that. Gratitude triggered the reciprocity. When we doing this, we looking at a march to freedom as a relay race. And when the elders come, we get the rub from the elders. They feel you out, say a couple things, see if what triggers you. Can you hold your composure under the grill and the questions about what you saying? You know, and each one of the elders, right, sign off on you. That's how you get your next level in the culture. That's different from how you go to the university and you get a diploma and you got a piece of paper, right? Once you then got the rub from the elder, that supersedes that paperwork.